I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
This One's Wife. Peppa Pig smacks down This One's Wife's show. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Yes, Peppa Pig, the children's television programme, has outgunned This One's Wife's show. How embarrassing. Imagine that. A children's cartoon, which I understand to be immensely popular with the kiddywinks, the crotch goblins, has proven to be more enduring and better viewing than the dross that was pumped out by This One's Wife. Oh, the disappointment. But it goes beyond that, because according to the Super Soaraway Sun and Jane Matthews, blow to This One's Wife and Harry as their £88 million Netflix doc. Well, I'm not quite sure it costs that much, but so there's a bit of license there, isn't there? Super Soaraway Sun, which is not surprising from that particular publication. But their Netflix doc is ranked 211th on the most watched list, lower than Hotel Transylvania 2. Now, I can't claim to have watched Hotel Transylvania 2. Indeed, I can't even claim to have watched Hotel Transylvania 1. If any of you Tudorites have watched either of those films or programmes, perhaps you'll let me know in the comments and how you found it. Apparently Paw Patrol, which I think is another kiddies programme, and Peppa Pig even ranked ahead of the Sussex's Bombshell documentary. So how about that? She was number 6 on the calling roster for Suits. Now she's 211th. Not top 10, not top 50, not even top 100, but 211th. This just demonstrates just how mediocre This One's Wife is. Of course, she cannot stand to be ranked so low that some porcine cartoon invention is viewed as more popular than her. How can this be? Surely every home should be watching Harry and This One's Wife like some Orwellian representation of 1984, that you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is stand before your screen and worship at the altar of This One's Wife, watching once again her and Harry behaving like meerkats as a pizza delivery boy puts past on a moped as they think we're being infiltrated and stalked by the paparazzi. She expects everybody to watch and believe that she's amazing and magnificent. And how could it be? The figures must be wrong. Netflix aren't doing their job properly. The talent agency aren't getting me the gigs that I should be having. Which fool has failed to ensure that I, This One's Wife, Queen of the World, Empress of Woke, Duchess of the Universe, isn't being universally watched each and every day by the masses? Heads will roll. This One's Wife and Prince Harry's documentary ranked 211th on Netflix's most watched list, behind children's films and also Suits. Released in 2 parts this time last year, the explosive docu-series lobbed bombs at the firm, seeing it torn apart by royal experts. To the shock of many, it told stories of This One's Wife's jarring first meeting with Princess Kate, and Harry making digs at his father. But despite the attention it drew, it didn't even rank in the top 200 most watched Netflix shows from January to June. The reason being, nobody is really that interested. Yes, initially it had a lot of interest because people were grudge watching. They wanted to see what baloney she would come out with. They wanted to see what horse nonsense would be provided by Prince Harry. They wanted to ascertain what further lies would be pumped out by her, what revision of histories would the audience be subjected to, and thus they would want to scrutinise them. But nobody was interested in watching it because they expected great television, other than, of course, a few deluded sugars who thought that they had to watch it whilst learning to spell correctly. The likes of animated monster comedy film Hotel Transylvania 2 and Minions, The Rise of Gru, were watched more times than the Bombshell documentary. Multiple seasons of Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig also ranked above the show, as did Emily in Paris and Outer Banks. And This One's Wife's old show, Suits, ranked considerably higher than her latest efforts, with the first series ranked at 73, despite being more than a decade old. The doc was pulled to pieces for giving examples of truths which didn't seem to stand up to reality. As the privacy-loving couple whined about their struggles in the final part of their Netflix docuseries, they glossed over some important details. Also, in an apparent dig at his dad King Charles' parenting, Harry claimed he was brought up by friends in Africa. He said, I've got a second family out there, a group of friends that literally brought me up. Yeah. The shock numbers have come just hours after the Sussexes were crowned the biggest losers by Hollywood's Showbiz Bible. Naturally, the Sun taking every opportunity to bring up other matters to give the Sussexes a kicking. The couple got the unwelcome title after being slammed for their moaning rants as their charity was revealed to be running at a loss. LA Magazine, The Hollywood Reporter, listed them among the biggest losers of 2023 amid the fallout from their whiny Netflix documentary, which, of course, as you now know, ranked at number 211th, and Harry's whiny biography. Meanwhile, shock figures revealed donations to their Archwell Foundation dropped almost £9 million in a year. The couple's various attacks on the royal family and their own waning popularity have already resulted in a string of woes. These include a money-spinning podcast being dropped, comedy show South Park taking the mickey, and Harry failing to be given a front row seat at his father's coronation. His view was even blocked by Princess Anne's plumed hat. There were furious bust-ups over Harry's book Spare and its follow-up biography Bell Endgame by Omid Scobie, and the couple's behaviour saw them lose their Frogmore Cottage home in the royal grounds of Windsor Castle. Harry's claims that the media ignored his Afghan war comrades were proven false following outrage over the pair's documentary. In a withering attack, The Hollywood Reporter blasted, after a whiny Netflix documentary, a whiny biography, Spare, even the title is a pouty gripe, and an inert podcast, the Harry and This One's Wife brand swelled into a sanctimonious bubble, just begging to be popped, and South Park was the pin. What were, though, the 10 most watched Netflix shows? Number 1, The Night Agent. Number 2, Ginny and Georgia, Season 2. Number 3, The Glory. Number 4, Wednesday. Number 5, Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. Number 5, oh no, that's number 6, You, which I believe shows a narcissist. Number 7, La Reina del Sur. 8, Outer Banks. 9, Ginny and Georgia Season 1. 10, Fuba. And then at 211, Harry and This One's Wife. I can safely say that the top 10 hasn't been watched by your glorious narrator, but there we are. I'm sure that they're not concerned by my omission to watch them. There are other things that gain my attention, which is a bit like what has happened to Harry and This One's Wife's programme, that other people's attention have been elsewhere, and she has been beaten by a pig that has smacked her down. A little cartoon representation of a pig has beaten This One's Wife. The fact that it's ranked at 211 just shows how unpopular they are. And of course, this is a threat to control because she believes it should be number 1. And her narcissism will tell her, it hasn't failed because of you, it's failed because Harry's makeup wasn't very good, or Harry didn't contribute enough, or it wasn't publicised, or Netflix executives haven't done their job, or somehow the royal family had conspired with Netflix executives to ensure that it wasn't viewed as many times as it ought to do. It will never ever be her fault, but once again the rest of the world can see that she is mediocre, boring, talent-free, and beaten by a cartoon pig. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.